Hi, my name's Bella. I live in Mexico City, but I grew up in London. I'm the senior teacher for young learners at the British Council Mexico. My favourite thing about teaching is helping people learn in fun and dynamic ways and see them progress. I'm also an artist and I love painting and drawing. Hello, welcome to this class. I have a question for you. Where are you? So maybe you are at home or in the park. Perhaps you're in a cafe. Maybe you're in Mexico City or on the subway. In a taxi, on the sofa, or, lucky you, in bed. Perhaps you're watching this video on your phone or on your tablet. Did you notice when I was speaking, I said 10 different prepositions, in, on, and at? So, in English, prepositions have a reputation for being really, really confusing, and I understand why. In English, we have lots, and in Spanish, there is just one for 3 words in English. So today, in this class, I'm going to give you some simple rules to help you remember your prepositions and hopefully progress with your English. So today we're going to be looking at in, on, and at. Do you know when to use these? If not, don't worry. Today I'm going to teach you some really simple rules to help you remember so you can improve your English. So let's start with in. In, we use it for places that are enclosed or surrounded by something. So, for example, we could say in the park. Imagine the trees, the grass, maybe the wall that surrounds you. Perhaps you are in a cafe. We say in a cafe. So imagine you are surrounded by the walls of the cafe. If you are lucky, perhaps you are in bed. So now imagine the blanket, the cushion, everything that surrounds you. Or finally, perhaps you are in the ocean. So imagine the water that surrounds you in the ocean. Within, we also use it for countries. So, for example, I'm in Colombia. We can use it for cities as well. I'm in Mexico City. And finally, we use it for natural places. So maybe you're in the mountains. Lovely. Okay, so that's in. We use it for places that are surrounded, countries, cities, and natural places. So let's move on to on. For me, I think this is easier to understand or imagine because it's when something is touching a surface. So you might say, for example, I'm sitting on the sofa, or maybe your laptop is on the table. Or perhaps you are sitting on the beach. We also use on for lines. For example, streets. I'm on Lope de Vega. We can also use it for borders. So I'm on the border of Mexico and Guatemala. And finally, we use it for rivers because it's kind of a line. So again, we use on when it's touching a surface. We use it for streets, rivers, and borders, so lines. Okay. Let's now look at. So, at we use for very, very specific places or events. So, for example, we could say, I'm at the corner of Mazarik and Lope de Vega. So I'm exactly in this point. Or you could say, I'm at home. That's a specific place. Or at a party, a specific event. Or at a Taylor Swift concert, again, a specific event. So let's think now about pronunciation, which is always a problem in English. So I'm going to say 3 sentences, and I want you to tell me if I stress the prepositions in, on, and at. So that means, do I use emphasis on those words? So let's first try. I'm sitting on the sofa. I'm sitting on the sofa. Okay, now let's try, I'm at the party. Or we could say, I'm in the park. I'm in the park. So do I stress in, on, and at? No, we don't stress prepositions of place in English. So that's why it sounds very small, quite fast, and maybe difficult to hear. So one more time. I'm on the sofa. I'm at a party. I'm in the park. Okay, it's time for some trivia. I'm going to give you 3 words, and I want you to think, do we use in, on, or at for those? So the first one is home. Do we use in, on, or at for home? Can you remember? The next one is street. And finally, let's do Mexico City. At the end of this video, we're going to come back and I'm going to give you the answer. So right now, start thinking, what preposition do I use for these 3 places? Okay, do you remember at the beginning of this video, I said, are you in a taxi or on the metro? So I'm going to give you a very easy rule to remember to help you with this kind of thing. So our rule 1 is we always use on for vehicles. So you can say, I'm on the bus, I'm on the train, I'm on the plane, I'm on the boat, I'm on the horse, or I'm on the elephant. Any transport we use on, except for taxi and car. For taxi and car, we use in. In the taxi, in the car. But everything else, we use on. Okay, that's my helpful rule number 1. So now let's look at another rule that can help you. At the beginning of the video, I said, are you on your laptop, on your phone, on your tablet? So what do those 3 things have in common? They are all technology. So rule number 2 is we always use on for technology. So once again, on the tablet, on the phone, on the laptop, on the internet, on the TV, on the radio, on the camera. So it's always on with technology. So let's just try and remember, if I say taxi, do I use in, on, or at for taxi? So remember, it's transport, so on a taxi? No, this is the exception. Taxi and car is in. Okay, what about laptop? Do we use in, on, or at? We use on because it's technology. Well done, guys. Let's conclude everything and remember the rules again. So we have in. In we used for enclosed places or surrounded places. We also use it for countries, for cities, and for natural places. On is when something is touching a surface. So on the sofa, on the table. And we also use it for lines like streets, borders, and rivers. And finally, at, remember, is for very specific places. At the corner, at home, at work. Okay, so I know that prepositions are tricky and they have a really bad reputation, but just keep trying. You will get there eventually. My advice is that you try to learn them in chunks. So instead of remembering on the bus, you remember it as a phrase, on the bus, and it will be much easier to remember. And also, don't stress about it. When you're speaking to people, they will understand what you're saying because they are focused on the more important information. Of course, it's good to use accurate English, but don't worry about it too much. Just keep practicing and you'll get there eventually. Okay, let's go back to our trivia. I asked you if we use in, on, or at for home, the street, or Mexico City. So we say at home, and we say on the street, and of course we say in Mexico City. So well done if you got 3 out of 3 correct. Okay, so that's your class for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're interested in learning more about British Council classes, you can have a look in the link. And so from me, thank you, goodbye, happy prepositions.